at this. The right hand one particularly is more, I think this is where we're going to try and sum it up into small parts of like focus more on that. I think your arm movement, yes, there's some practice with that, okay? That can be done, I think, at home there with that kind of movement with the left wrist, keeping it nice and flat. And I think the understanding of we don't need a lot of wrist hinge effectively. It's just got to be good wrist hinge, yeah? You're going to go to 90 degrees. When you try and go too far, you lose control, okay? This one on the right, also on the left-hand side, the hip rotation now was good. And I think for you, just thinking about your right leg kind of straightening a little bit. Okay, we'll get you certainly get you more hip rotation and depth. You can still see how your hips do slide to the right, yeah? At this point, we want to try and make sure this is almost going behind you that way, yeah? So you can do that up against a chair leg or a table somewhere and get the sensation that there you go, good, that's it. So that's exactly, the hips, or the pelvis, I should say, has 3 motions, okay? It goes that way on the way back, it goes that way on the way through, and it moves that way on the way back down, yeah? The first one on the way back will always happen, okay? And on the way through is going to happen, okay? It's almost impossible not to rotate them on the way through, yeah? So this, exactly, anyone, I mean, you think about a golf swing, when you got to the top of the backswing here now, thinking that hip wasn't going to move, look where the hips got to already, yeah? Now the arms are coming down nicely there, but the hips always want to unwind, okay? So what felt to you, again, hips turn to the top of the backswing, even not moving, you see the stick, it's still gone, but now your hips are square to target and the club hasn't got anywhere near the ball yet, yeah? And then as you go through, look at the stick on the other side now. So your hips are always going to rotate. We've just got to increase them on the way back by going back further. I think with the right leg straightening a little bit, get a little bit more depth there with that right hip, okay? And then once they've done the job there now, they can almost, they're done. It's got to just almost like fall to target, okay? What you do here now on this swing that felt like no hips at all, just look at the stick. As your arms are coming back down, the club's in a good position, so that's pleasing there with that. So we've got the club face nicely in line there, which is great. Now as you come back down, no movement of the hips in your mind. Yeah, I mean, they're still moving, and then as you hit the golf ball now, they're going to unwind this. Because the hips were quieter, the ball started right of target and did actually shape right to left, which is for me the sign that the left wrist is flat, or flatter, and the path was better. And that's what we tried. That sort of shape of shot there with right to left spin, starting right, is a good sign that you swung, got the club behind you on a better path, and the club with the hack motion there is showing that your club face now is squarer. When the ball goes left of target to start with, your hips have done too much of this, and you side across it with the open club face, giving that weaker cutting shot. Okay? So I think
my hips be more or less square to target when I
at impact they're going to be slightly open,
just a touch,
but you want to be trying to slow that down. That will happen automatically. There's no need for you to try to twist any faster, or they're going to twist. You can see when you're trying to keep the hip back, the stick's still moving. Because it will just happen. It's one of those things. It's almost like gravity. You drop something, it falls.
So at impact, I'm just slightly
open.
Be,
I'm where you go that way again. You go that position there again. You're actually over here. You're almost back this way.
And my weight's going back.
Exactly. So you're spinning back onto your right foot. So that's why the importance of getting that hip movement. So up against the wall, getting that sensation of the hip kind of moving away slightly. So it's kind of like getting that leg to straighten to get the sensation of how your hips are going to move. Once if the hip goes that way, it's very tough to get to where you want to get to.
But I sort of do this, and then all my weight goes onto my
heel. And it just stays there because it doesn't come back. Exactly. So that little movement there, that sort of pelvic slide, effectively. That's what you got to try and do. There you go. Good.
Let it go into the right.
So you feel. And as the hip kind of continues on around, if you keep doing that movement there now, the weight now is starting to shift as your right leg is starting to straighten. You see, So it's kind of creating the movement that we're trying to make by just focusing, I think, on the right leg and the right hip there,
So when I go out on the course,
I would just think, trail leg, just getting straighter and back behind you, Right hip going behind, right leg straightening a little bit, And that will then, I think, in turn, get your arms to work behind you more. Your arms then are going to start working down. It'd be very hard for you to go and throw over there, Okay?
Great.
Brilliant, well done.